As a small biz pro, so we grow, using procurement, program, and control. I'm a businessman, yes, I'm an entrepreneur. Oh yeah, I'm a businessman, yes, I'm an entrepreneur. Oh yeah, I'm a businessman, yes, I'm an entrepreneur.
Good afternoon, everyone. This is the Business Zone with
Crystal
and Coach Gilbert Buchanan, your small business paramedic. And today, folks, we're going to have a blast of a show. This is Juneteenth. For those of you who don't know what Juneteenth is, you're going to learn about it today. How you doing, co-host?
I am good, and this week went by fast, but it's a great week. We have it's exciting because it's Juneteenth, and finally the world knows that it's Juneteenth, including us.
Yeah.
Because some of us didn't know either, and so I'm excited about it, and we're going to talk about what it is and how it started and some history behind it. But in addition to that, I always say freedom, for me, freedom is about money.
Yeah, freedom was never free. It was never free.
It was if there ain't no money with it, and if you can't figure out how to make money, then you still are not very free. So we're gonna talk about that. We're gonna talk about some events that's going on this weekend. We're gonna wish dads happy Father's Day because you kind of got lost in the shuffle of this. It's like Father's Day is not like Mother's Day, huh?
That's true. we are the illegitimate stepchild. Illegitimate stepchild.
So we're gonna make sure that dads know that we celebrating you as well. So
we gotta get our flowers too. Come on, we gotta get our flowers.
Absolutely right. So to all the dads, all the granddads, all the surrogate dads and uncles and godfathers, happy Father's Day to you as well. But you got a great celebration this weekend. You got the Freedom of Black Folk weekend.
That's right, man. We got the Juneteenth celebration going on. So I just want to make sure they don't give us those little gift certificate to go buy power tools or a grill, a barbecue grill or some crap like that. That's not what we want. Just like the women don't want vacuum cleaners, they don't want kitchen utensils. We don't want that either.
You don't want the apron?
No, we don't want an apron. We don't want any of that. Just give us the gift certificate and we'll go take care of what we want.
Okay, all right. So you ladies, you hear that, go out there and give them a gift certificate. You can take them to dinner. Surprise them with some personal stuff, not stuff that requires cleaning up the garage.
That's right. None of that manual labor crap. We're not into that. That's why we're celebrating Juneteenth, because we're not into that manual labor crap anymore, guys. So when you think of fathers, that's not what we're about. Yeah, you want us to be the protector and the disciplinarian in the household, the lover, the partner, and all of that. But don't come to us with that manual labor crap about, here's a grill, go grill. No. Here's some power tool. Go work on the yard. No, that's not what our celebration is.
Okay, so we're gonna make sure of that. And but today's gonna be a great show. But before we get to that, Gilbert, how was your week?
Oh man, my week was great, man. My week was great.
You had some windfalls this week.
I had some windfalls this week, man. I found all kind of money that I didn't even know I had. I found all kinds of money. I'm going, wait a second, is that for me?
You had no clue that you had money out there, huh?
I had no clue, man. And folks, just so you know, man, if you have an office or you've got a room that you've used for a while, you haven't used it, man, just go in there and check it out. Clean it up a little bit. You may find some stuff. I found over $1,000, man. Over $1,000 in my office, Crystal. And there's still more. There's some gift certificates, some other stuff.
So now that's when cleaning up really benefits you.
Oh, yeah. It paid off. It paid off for me because I found a check. I found an on-cash check for $600.
Oh my gosh, yes. Wow. Maybe but I usually take mine straight to the bank. I guess I'm not I guess I'm a little thirsty.
I found some gift certificate from Costco's. I found some gift cards. Oh, I didn't even tell you this. I found a gift card from Macy's for $50. I'm going, what? Wait a
Oh my
second. I didn't
God.
even know I had this. So I got all this money, man, over $1,000. And on top of that, I found my retirement plan. So I reach out to the retirement organization and say, hey, where's my money? They said, sir, as a matter of fact, your money doubled since 2013. I said, what?
Oh yeah, see you are that's awesome. Well, congratulations. Going in cleaning up the spare bedroom is
Yeah.
probably a good thing. Actually making it the office and now you can
Yep.
store it
Yep.
in the right places. Well,
Oh yeah. Oh
awesome,
yeah.
my awesome co-host. I wasn't that blessed to go find money. I did. I didn't find that
You
kind of money
didn't
hanging
find the
out my
kind of
door.
money, but you
Mm-mm.
probably found some other stuff, right?
Yeah, I got some other things, but it wasn't money. But I'm all right, so no money. But yeah, so that was my week, and my week was kind of like I had workshops and classes and
Yeah, you
so
did
forth.
some classes, right?
Yeah, I did some classes. I actually got a reach out from Ken Hicks, our buddy Ken
Oh,
Hicks.
yes, Ken,
So
yes.
yeah, he's working with down on Central
The south,
Avenue.
southeast. No, what is it? Southeast Business Source, right? Is that it?
Yeah. So I'm gonna do on the 29th, I'm going to do a QuickBooks class for them
Beautiful, beautiful.
and some other classes and some consulting for them as well. They're just
Yeah,
kind of getting started. I think they're gonna reach out to you.
yeah.
We've been interviewing and kids for Biz Camp, so
Mm-hmm.
we're almost at full capacity. We
Yeah,
partnered up with another youth organization called Educating Young Minds,
yeah.
and she has been in business for the last 30 years, and so she provides tutoring services for kids between the ages, school age kids.
Yeah.
So we are partnering up with her for Biz Camp. So some of her kids will come to our class, our program, and then she has a full-on summer program for tutoring and some other auxiliary programs. So we're gonna see if we can do a joint collaboration there.
That sounds great.
So that's awesome. So we're pretty jazzed about that. Before I came on the air, Miss Rhonda called me and said, make sure I remind Gilbert that she wants you to come into the kids and do how to set up the business with the license.
Oh, yes. I love doing that with the kids, man.
Yeah. So
Yeah, just next to you, next to you and Rhonda, Crystal, I love working with the kids, man. Love working with them.
So
Yeah.
she wants to make sure that you put she's gonna reach out to you so she can get you on the calendar.
Yes.
So because that's a valuable part of the program for the kids. So
Yes.
just wanted
Yes.
to pass that off to you.
Yes, definitely. As soon as I know what date she wants, I'll put that on my calendar. I'll block it out, man, because I love sharing information with the kids, and part of the reason I love it, one, they got their young minds, they're like a sponge sucking up new information and
Yes.
implementing it. The second thing is they listen, they pay attention to what we're telling them. Not like our adult entrepreneurs who say, yeah, whatever, I'll do it. These kids listen, and they do it better than many of our adult entrepreneurs.
True that.
So I love working with the kids.
Yeah,
Man.
so they'll be glad to have that. Yeah, and we got some really amazing kids. Our age group is at normally 13, right?
Yeah.
And we use 13 because that's a little bit more of a mature child, pretty much in their second year of middle school. But oh my God, we have 3 10-year-olds this year.
Wow.
We got 2 10-year-olds, 11 and a 12-year-old.
They're like 40 going on to 50, right?
One of them, he's 10, and he was saying, I was talking to him the other day, and uh um he was going on about his business, and he has a merchandise business. And
Yeah.
he says, and when I started this business 4 years ago,
That means he was 6. That's hilarious, man. That's
me and
hilarious.
Rhonda did exactly what you did. Like, wait, you were 6.
When I started this business 4 years ago.
And so articulate, and it was just
Oh,
awesome. It was,
man.
and we were like, oh my God, this kid is incredible. So we're excited about him.
Yes.
And then there's another one that also, he's 14,
Right.
and we were talking, and he says, yeah, and when I started my business his was 7 years ago. He
Yeah.
said he was 7 when he started his business. Like, okay, y'all are just showing out.
I love it, man. I just love it. I love it.
So you're going to enjoy meeting these kids. I think
I can't wait.
yeah,
I can't
and so
wait.
tomorrow we have our orientation, so we'll get to see all the
Yeah.
kids, and then July 5th, we
Yeah.
will be back in session. So from the 5th to the 29th, will be Biz Camp.
I think someone reached out to me, asked me if I can be a judge or a coach. And I told him I'd be a business plan writing judge.
Oh,
So I'll be helping out with the business plan judging as well for you.
okay, cool. Oh yeah,
Yeah.
that must have been yeah,
something
shoot, I
about it.
can't it'll come to me in a minute.
Yeah.
Yeah. And we Saturday on Thursday, we had Selena on the community briefing.
Oh yeah.
Yeah, so of course she wowed everybody as
Oh
usual.
man, I wish I had known.
Yeah, and
I love that woman. She's
yeah,
phenomenal.
she's phenomenal, and she is going to
Next to you, co-host. Next to you, I love her.
I got it. I understand.
So you're first, okay?
I don't have a problem sharing with Selena. She's a pretty awesome woman. awesome woman. And even Greg, I had to chuckle. He's not on as of yet, but I had to chuckle because Greg, when we found out, when I asked her to be on, or I told Stephen that I wanted him to reach out to her to get her on the community briefing.
Yeah.
And I asked Greg, I said, you good with that? Greg said, I don't care how you bring her here. She could just sit here, come on, and just sit. She don't even have to open her mouth.
Exactly. She is phenomenal, man. And you know she's got some Asian culture, right?
She's a Filipino part,
Yes.
Black and Filipino. So
Yeah,
we introduced her to Richard Palais. Hey, Candace. He reintroduced her to Richard Palais because he's heading up NAC, National Association of Asian American Asian American Coalition. So and she was speaking. Thank you.
Hey, Candace, how are you doing?
She said that she came on and we told him who he was, and she says, oh, and so she spoke to him, said hello to him in Tagalog, and he goes, I wish I knew what you said, but that sounded great.
I love it. I love it.
So Richard is the only Black person in the National Asian American Coalition.
That reminds me of when I was a procurement chair for the California Hispanic Chambers of Commerce. They see me, they go, huh? You running this? Do you know Spanish? Then when I break out the little Spanish I know, they go, oh my God, he knows a little something.
Yeah, so there you go. So that's exactly what Richard is doing. Yes, we are bright today, Candace.
Yeah. We're putting up the bright colors, man, in celebration of Juneteenth.
Yeah, so we bright today. Yeah, so she was on. So she's gonna actually come and speak to the kids
Yeah.
As
That's
a
beautiful.
on HR, on human resources.
That's
So
beautiful.
it's
Love
awesome.
it. Love it.
So
Love it.
so there you go. Do
Love
we
it,
want to
man.
jump on into our topic today?
Yep. Let's do that, man, without any hesitation. Let's go for it. So
Oh,
today, folks, we're talking about Juneteenth. We're celebrating Juneteenth. As you know, today is the 17th, June 17th. So in 2 days, we'll be celebrating Juneteenth. But just like we all do as Black people and other ethnic people, we don't just celebrate one day. We're going to take the whole weekend and we're going to stretch it out to the rest of the month too. So that's how we're celebrating Juneteenth right now. So just so you guys know.
yeah,
So,
we are celebrating big time, guys. We're making sure that everyone knows this is a Freedom Day,
yeah,
and hopefully, we will continue to move forward to becoming really financially free, which is where the freedom really comes up.
yep. That's exactly what it is. Because freedom is not freedom unless you are financially sustainable.
Yes,
You can run your own shop, run your own show, you can finance it, or you can access finance, you can leverage financing to make it happen. So that's how we see freedom. It's
yes,
not
yes.
it's not just somebody just say, okay, you're free, and we say, all right, thank you very much. No, it's not like that. It's not
Yes,
like that.
yes, yes, yes. A good every Condon, since she's closing on Monday, so there's a lot
Excellent.
of parades and a lot of things going on. So we're going to share that with you as well. But
Yeah,
before we get to that, there are some of us, and I will say, and you're going to give us some 10 important facts on
right,
Juneteenth.
right.
But I remember, we talked about it at one point. I think the only state that actually celebrated was Texas because of the fact it really affected Texas.
That's where it started.
That's where it started, right? Because they didn't get the memo until 2 years later.
They got the memo, but they threw it in the garbage because they didn't want to recognize it. Because freedom to them means loss of money, while freedom to us means earning our own money.
Right, exactly. So the plantation owners failed to inform their slaves that they were free, and
Yeah.
so but Gilbert's going to go in and tell you all about that, and so sit down, guys. We're going to learn some lessons, and we're going to also share with you. Yes, I would like to have the first Black LAPD captain talk to the kids. Candace, send me over the information.
That's great.
Somebody said that's Texas for you. Exactly. So we're hold on to it because, guys, even for us, we have to. Now that the world knows that this is Juneteenth and what this day really means to us and to Black people, but there are some of us, as Gilbert would say, are not quite woke yet either.
That's
And
right.
so we want to make sure we're well aware. And it's so important that we all study our history and learn as much as we can about who we are, why we are, and what goes on in our world. Because with knowledge, with knowledge comes power. And
Yeah.
so just know that, guys, that it's really it behooves us not to be in the dark either. So with that, Gilbert, I
Exactly.
am going to let you have it. Tell us, what is Juneteenth?
So, folks, I know some of you are wondering, oh, I hear about this Juneteenth stuff. What is it? Whether you're Black, whether you're a descendant of a slave, or you're not, you're wondering, some of you are wondering, what the heck is this thing? So we want to break it down for you here on the Business Zone so you get an idea and see how this relates to your life. It relates to your ability to generate money and to be prosperous in the economy as an entrepreneur. So let's take a look at, or as a family unit. So let's take a look at this. What is Juneteenth? All right. Well, Juneteenth is considered the oldest nationally celebrated and commemorated holiday of the ending of slavery. And this is here in the United States, because in other parts of the world they didn't recognize it, or they did recognize, like in Jamaica, for example, 1865 is when we recognize the emancipation of slavery. So the other parts to it, the 1863 part of it, we weren't, we weren't we didn't have access to that type of information. So 1865 to us is the official day. So Juneteenth we celebrate as the ending of slavery in the United States, which is usually fall on June 19th every year. So June 19th is just like Mother's Day, May 10th. And as far as Juneteenth is concerned, that's June 19th every year. Now it honors the 1865 activity when the Union soldiers arrived in Galveston, Texas. Now, that's 2 years after the Emancipation Proclamation was released. The Emancipation Proclamation was in 1863, like I said, but it wasn't recognized by the slave owners in Texas and in most part of the U.S. because what did they do? They got the memo, but they threw it in the garbage because they were trying to make sure they make an extra 2 years of free money out of the slaves. It's like having your own money-making machine for 2 years. Not paying taxes, none of that. That's what they did with the slaves. They did with our ancestors, right? So that's what they did. So most of the enslaved folks, our grandparents and foreparents, we didn't even know we were free because we didn't hear anything because they kept everything from us. Just like they keep a lot of stuff from us today, like the learnings and the teaching of slavery or history, they don't share with us. They color it a different way so we get to look at it differently. But now the truth is coming out because folks who were present, they either start writing books or they start telling their grandparents and therefore their parents down below, and the information is shared. Now, we talk about the Emancipation Proclamation. Well, what does that really mean, the Emancipation Proclamation? Well, emancipation, we all know, is freedom, right? When you're emancipated, you're free from something. You're released from something. That's emancipation, right? And then proclamation is like an executive order. So you hear from President Obama, President Biden, and all of those folks talk about executive order. That's what the proclamation was back in the day. As a matter of fact, it was considered Proclamation 95. So Executive Order 95, that's what that was, where the President of the United States, who at the time was Abraham Lincoln, on New Year's Day, January 1st, 1863, he said, hey, we got to terminate this slavery stuff. It's not making us look good, so we got to do that. But he got a lot of pushback from some of the Union soldiers and others who said, man, you're messing with our money. We can't afford to lose the money that we've been getting, all this free labor, and we don't even pay taxes on it. What's going on? So that's what happened there. So the president said, I'm sorry, you're going to have to find other way to do that, or I'm going to have to jack you. I'm going to have to increase your taxes. So they decided, okay, reluctantly. So but what they did, they said, hey, not a problem. You can go ahead and free the slaves, but you can give them an opportunity to still work for you, but you got to compensate them. So to the slave owners, compensation really didn't mean money. It means provide them shelter and food. That's what compensation meant to them. So some of the slaves, they told them, hey, the president said that you're supposed to be free, but you're not really going to be free because where are you going to go? You don't have anywhere to go. You don't have a home. You don't have money. How are you going to live? So we can offer you some place to stay, and in exchange for this, some food, or you do a little work around the house. So that's pretty much how this gets started. So now the question is, why did it take 2 years? Since it was the Emancipation Proclamation was in 1863, why did it take until 1865 before our foreparents were freed. Well, the Union soldiers, they're going, hey, you know, we can't in Texas. They go in Galveston, Texas. They're going, well, we can't afford to do that. We don't have enough soldiers to help fight the war and protect the state. So they're saying because of a lack of presence of soldiers, Union soldiers, they got to keep this slavery thing going, and they didn't want to tell the slaves that's what was going on. Then they had a strong resistance to freedom because they go, okay, now they're going to be free. They're going to be running the whole place, just like as we know now in our economy, they have redlining, right? Redlining means black people can't buy property in certain communities. It's the same thing back then. They said, now these people are going to be running free. Our property value is going to go down. We can't afford to have them. I just want to let you know I'm going to shoot some of these people if they come near my property. So that's kind of the thing that they were saying. And now the president and some of his executive teams were saying, shoot, maybe they're going to kill the blacks. You know, I mean, okay, well, we'll allow you guys to extend it for another 2 years. And that's part of the reason why all of this happened. Now, there's this old Confederate general, it's called, I think his name is Grander. Grander?
Grander.
Grander decided, hey, man, I don't care what you guys are saying. We're freeing the slave. We got to free them and put them to better use. We need to do something else. You know, we need to have them somewhere. It's unlawful to slave them. And that's part of, you know, where the resistance came about and people were fighting. So pretty much, Crystal, in a nutshell, that's my little synopsis of how Juneteenth came into being.
You know, there's something that's going on in today's world that resonates with me on keeping Juneteenth. I mean, keeping the emancipation or the emancipation of the slaves a secret is what they're talking about today on critical race theory, right?
Yes.
Don't be talking about this stuff, man.
The same thing. It's the same thing. It's the same thing. And now the Pope is chiming in on this, Crystal. The Pope is chiming in on Juneteenth. Did you know that?
But yeah, I saw that, and it's like, okay, so but on one hand, they don't have no choice. They had to. The Juneteenth got out the bag, and so now all of us are celebrating, and now the world is celebrating, and you got, you know, cities and states and governmental entities got the day off. But of course, thank you, Kenneth. But of course, you know, I don't know if you saw during the beginning when they were really gearing up for the commercializing of Juneteenth, because they always still want to make money off of us. Man.
For sure, for sure.
Want to make money off of us, right? They can't stand us, but gosh, do they love our culture?
Oh,
it's profitable.
Yeah.
So I don't know if you saw Walmart actually had an ice cream.
Lord.
They were creating an ice cream in honor, and it was in a container with Juneteenth written all over it, and black folks went nuts. They're like, no. So
I'm glad they went nuts over it then, because sometimes they slip those little commercial malarkey into our presence, and some of us, we overlook it and don't really see the true issue or the true story behind it. So I'm glad, Crystal.
Yeah, so they and they had to pull it right off, right? That was like in April or May. But there are others, of course. There's cars and everything. So now everybody's jumped on the bandwagon for Juneteenth, and of course, the others want to commercialize it and continue to make money.
I love that. The others.
The colonizers, let's put it that way. The colonizers want to commercialize it. But we just want you guys to understand it is very important to understand our history and to understand the details of the history and not be in the dark, because if you're in the dark, people can pull the wool over your eyes all the time. And so this is what Juneteenth was. So even I know when, it's been celebrated for many years, and we have some data, some factors that we're going to share with you. that, you know, some of it we didn't even know was existing, because
Yeah.
again, in school we never learned about Juneteenth.
No.
Heck, they
No.
barely wanted to tell you about Lincoln freeing the slaves, and
Yeah.
then you learned what was the real story behind why Lincoln was freeing the slaves. He didn't do
You're
it because
right.
he really wanted to.
No.
He
No.
believed
No. Not at all.
Candace said, "My God, this is the best Juneteenth celebration ever." We're telling the truth.
Yeah, we're telling the truth, man. We're telling the
We're
truth.
telling the truth. So we're going to jump over to some of the facts that we did our research as well.
Yeah.
And we're going to share some of the facts with you on things that were going on, and hopefully some of you knew this information, and some of us did not. So let's jump into some facts.
Let's jump into it, baby.
Some facts. So fact number one. Fact number one. Following the issue of, as we know, the Emancipation Proclamation on January 1, not all freed enslaved people were immediately freed. Texas decided to keep us in bondage.
Yeah.
Fact two, and Gilbert talked about this, the Civil War ended in 1865, and the Union, Gordon Ganger, he announced some orders, and then they freed them and let the world know, right? Fact three is the General Order number 3 encouraged the newly freed people to remain with their past owners. Now, this I had read, you know, in the 70s. I was y'all think I'm militant now. In the 70s, I was real militant. Before I came here to California, in New York, militant is our middle name. And so I remember hearing that about this when I was in Girl Scouts. And that's because I had gone on this thing. It's always been, I've been curious about certain things. I could not understand why we as Black people were so hated by the others. So I had to go read. So I read up everything on slavery, Black history, everything. I just consumed everything, like it was water. And one of the things that they did was, in some cases, they threatened.
Yeah.
They were like, "Okay, we'll free you, but you don't have no place to go."
Exactly.
Right?
Who's going to hire you? Where are you going to go?
Exactly. We take good care of you, right? Another word, but then we take good care of you people. So why would you even leave? So a lot of them were encouraged to stay with their owners, but instead of, it still was another form of slavery. They then became sharecroppers, that we allow you, we'll give you this little patch of land right here. And now you can raise your own food, take care of your own family. But there is a cost to that.
Yeah.
Cost for this, and there's a cost for this. So eventually it still was, they were still in slavery. They were still not getting paid for what they were doing.
So if you want to water the garden or the fruit that you're planting, you're gonna have to pay a water bill.
Right. And so the freedmen were advised to remain quietly in their present homes and work for wages. But of course, the wages went back to those gracious individuals that are allowing you to stay on their property.
Yeah.
And they were informed that they would not be allowed to collect military posts, and that they would not be supported in idleness either or elsewhere. So if you didn't
do some work for the
then they were going to arrest you and put you back in slavery. So however you look at it, you were still going to be in slavery.
Yeah.
And I always call it, you have to listen to the duplicitous conversations people are having, because they talk out of, as the Indians say, they talk out of both sides of their face. Forked tongue. Fact 4, the period after Juneteenth is known as the scatter. And Even though they were recommended to stay in place, many former slaves left the area around the original reading, and in the following weeks, formerly enslaved people left Texas in great numbers to find family members and make their way into post-bellum United States.
Because
Um,
several things were going on then, Crystal. Because when you were in slavery, me as a man, they will take my ass and put me on some plantation to work where my wife, kids, and would be somewhere else. So when emancipation came around, most guys like me say, "Hey, I got to go find my family. I got to find my kids." So they start moving elsewhere. And then when you find your family, then you say, "Hey, you know what? I'm not staying in this damn Texas anymore. Let's go to Chicago."
right. So a lot of them went to Chicago. A great deal of them actually went, and I'm going to talk about this later on. A great deal of them went to Oklahoma because
Yeah,
Oklahoma was actually, that was where Black Wall Street occurred and
yeah,
originated, and there's a
yeah,
reason why. So they
yeah.
left Texas, went looking for their family members. And here's another little tidbit I'm gonna jump in there with is, I've done my ancestry, right?
Yeah,
So, I did my DNA. And
yeah,
so, right now, when I look at my ancestry.com, my ancestry trees, I
yeah.
have over 1,000 new relatives out there. And I always say, people walk up to you and say, "Wow, you look like so and so and so." And my
Yeah,
response to that is, that's probably because they probably was on some plantation
yeah.
and was
That's right.
impregnated by the man that impregnated
That's
my grandmother, and then
yeah,
they sold them to another plantation.
yeah,
So we
yeah,
probably do share the same DNA.
yep. That's true. That is true,
So,
man.
fact 5, Juneteenth was celebrated under many names prior to it actually becoming a legal holiday. It was called Freedom Day. It was called Jubilee Day. A celebrate
I like that one. Celebration Day.
celebration.
Celebration.
Second Independence Day, and Emancipation Day, to name just a few. So Candan says, "Yes, my favorite is the name the Indians gave Trump. Walking eagle. He is so full of he can't lie."
I love
Awesome.
it. I love it, Candace. I love it.
So those were the days, and so in Texas, they were celebrating Juneteenth with different names. Fact 6, in Houston, Texas, Emancipation Park was bought specifically to celebrate Juneteenth. I don't know if there's anyone here or listening audience that is from Texas and from Houston, Texas. I never knew this, but I've only been in Houston a couple of times. So the 10-acre parcel of land was purchased by a former slave, Richard Allen. Now, Richard Allen actually is one of the founders of the first AME church.
Oh wow,
And
really?
so Richard Allen is he is one of the founders with Biddy Mason, for Biddy Mason here in LA, but Richard Allen was one of the founders. Richard Brock and Jack Yates and Ellis Dibble for $800 in 1872. So this was a number of years after, but I am very impressed with their ingenuity
Oh,
to
for
go out
sure.
and take their earnings and purchase land.
So see, Crystal, the legacy goes on because
Right.
what you and I are doing here for small business, we even spend our own money to help these small businesses. You look at you on the weekends, you spend your own money to help the kids with tennis and all of that. Same thing you do with these entrepreneurs. Same thing I do. So that's what Richard Allen and the others did too. They
Yeah.
went out, took their own money, they bought that 10 acre of land. They said, "Hey, we're going to recognize this as Freedom Park," right? But
Yeah,
but
exactly.
but then the man wouldn't let them, right?
Right. So, fact 7, during the early 20th century, Juneteenth celebrations were declined. An enactment of Jim Crow laws
Yeah.
dampened the
Uh-huh.
celebration of freedom. And in
Yeah.
addition, the Great Depression forced many Black farming families away from rural areas into urban environments to seek work, resulting in difficulty taking the day off to celebrate. So
Yeah.
again, like you said, the others.
Yeah.
Um, Fact 8, the celebration of Juneteenth was revived during the Civil Rights Movement. The Poor People's March, planned by Martin Luther King Jr., was purposely scheduled to coincide with the date. Now, I never knew that.
Yeah.
March participants took the celebration back to their home states, and soon the holiday was reborn.
Yeah.
I don't remember in Buffalo if we ever celebrated Juneteenth.
I don't think we did. You know why? Because in Buffalo's you have more of the others than us. So
Yes.
therefore they kind of shut down on any of that stuff that
Yeah,
was
I don't
going on.
remember. I didn't remember doing that. Fact 9, celebration of Juneteenth continues today. So traditions include public readings of the Emancipation Proclamation, singing traditional songs, and reading of works by African American writers. And now you have forms of rodeos and street fairs and cookouts and family reunions and park parties and all of that. And fact 10, on June 17th, 2021, President Biden signed the Juneteenth National Independence Day Act, which officially made Juneteenth a federal holiday. So just like Reagan signing the bill in 1983 to approve Martin Luther King's Day as a federal holiday, now Juneteenth is a federal holiday as
But you
well.
know what, though, Crystal? A lot of us still don't know that Juneteenth is a federal holiday. So a lot of us think it's just a day, another day out there. But it's a federal holiday. That means if you work for a government agency, you get the day off and you get paid. If you work for any other entity, it's not going to be, you're not going to have to be required to go to work because it's a holiday.
Right,
See what I'm saying?
exactly. And here's the thing, Gilbert, which I always find is kind of interesting, is that um uh even with Martin Luther King's birthday, I remember when I first started, when I was working and it was a national holiday in 83,
Yeah.
we had to take off the day as a personal holiday. We
Yeah.
couldn't take the day. It wasn't a
Yeah.
national, even though it was national, part of
You
private
got it.
companies did not have to observe that holiday,
You had
right?
to take a vacation
You
day
had
in
to take
honor
a
of it.
vacation day. So I remember specifically that the black people in the companies, we would take that day off as our personal day or a vacation day.
That's
Now
crazy.
it's everyone actually takes the holiday off, and so now for the first time, we will have everyone will be celebrate on Monday for the holiday.
Yeah.
And in fact, it was so funny because a couple of my clients, I had classes scheduled. For us as entrepreneurs, heck, we all a holiday is just like another day to us, right?
Exactly.
We're working anyway. So
Exactly.
I was scheduled to teach a class on that day, and they called me. It's like, oh, can you move that to Tuesday? Because that's Juneteenth. I'm like, oh, okay, sure. But in addition, we also have events going on, so we're going to share that with you guys. So there's a
Yep.
lot of things going on in the
Yep.
city this week. So there's a celebration at Real 92.3 in LA Function Academy. LA is on the 18th, which is Saturday
Yeah.
from 2 p.m. to 9 p.m. The People's Juneteenth Festival is in Lamert, and there's
That's
now
right,
Lamert
baby.
Park
Lamert
is
Park.
Lamert Park is actually started today. So they got stuff
Uh-huh.
going on today, and it will go all the way on through to Monday. So
All
Lamert Park
weekend.
all weekend. Lula, Washington, the dance studio, they're doing a classical music and dance concert on Sunday, June 19th at 5 p.m. So go over to their website and RSVP. It's free to the community.
Yeah.
As well as for Lamert Park, you need to go onto their website, the People's Juneteenth Festival, and sign up for that.
Yeah.
Saturday and Sunday, the Lamert Park will have vendors. It will just be a free, just all weekend long, uh, which Leimert Park is Africa Town, so it's fondly named Africa Town. So that will be where all your brothers and sisters will be celebrating.
Yeah.
Los Angeles Black History Month Festival is going to be at Westchester Park on Sunday from 10 a.m. to 6 p.m. And then, go back one. Leimert Park Festival on Saturday also started today. Freedom Day Parade is going to be, whoops, that's wrong. Oh yeah, that's Freedom Day Parade. So that's the another King Parade
Yeah.
on Martin Luther King Boulevard
That's the 20th,
on
Monday.
the 20th. And then Juneteenth celebration at Sip and Sonder in Inglewood on the 19th from 10 a.m. to 3 p.m. Miss Juneteenth LA Scholarship Pageant is going to be at the Miracle Theater in Inglewood from Saturday the 18th. And then the California Reparations Task Force listening session, Fernando Pulliam Community Art Center in Leimert Park. That's going to take place on Sunday, June 19th at 12 o'clock. And then the Behan Block Club Party presented by Diago is in Los Angeles. Now, I just pulled up the events that's here in LA.
Yeah.
There are actually events all over the city.
Oh, yeah. All over the country.
All over the country. So wherever you happen to be, guys, put your mask on.
That's right. Put your mask on.
Put your mask on and go and celebrate.
Go with an open mind to learn more about Juneteenth, because there's still a lot more that Crystal and I haven't shared with you today that you can learn at some of these events. Who knows? You may be related to some pretty legacy and phenomenal people that you probably didn't even know you're related to. So.
Right, exactly. Now, this is where I go to these events because, I have a collection of Black T-shirts.
Yeah.
And if I'm not ordering it from a Black vendor on Etsy, because you can't be sure that you're getting a Black vendor on Amazon. So guys know this. So I get mine on Etsy. But when I buy them in person, I actually go to these events and I pick up my supply of Black T-shirts and African attire, so that the coming Black History Month, I'm not scrounging around looking for stuff. So for you guys to support another Black business, I highly recommend that you go out there, support the vendors, because this is about us and it's about us being able to support and create wealth. So now that brings us to the next portion of our show is, for me, freedom comes with money.
That's right. That's what I'm talking about. So, if you think freedom is free, then they said you are dumb. Freedom. Therefore, freedom. It does not. It's not free. It comes with money.
Comes with having money in your bank account, having assets, being debt free. And I'm going to take us on a journey on after the emancipation and when our ancestors started to scatter, they went to other states to live and they were able to create wealth. And so I want to share with you guys some of some ancestors that actually realized that freedom is not freedom unless you actually have money, and because that the money gives you power, and that's really where the freedom comes from power, not just naming a day as a day of celebration. If we can't afford to live, if we don't have businesses, if we are not supporting our own businesses and creating that wealth, then we're going to be always struggling and fighting for that freedom.
We got to have some financial accomplishment affixed to that freedom. to celebrate.
Exactly. So immediately following the emancipation, there were 4,047 millionaires in the United States. Six of them were African American. So between the years 1830 and 1927, the last generation of blacks born in slavery were reaching maturity, and a small group of very industrious, tenacious, and daring men and women broke new ground to attain the highest level of financial success. So I'm going to go through some of them. So today we have our Michael Jordans and Bob Johnson, Oprah Winfrey. They were the first black people we thought in our generation to have a 7-figure income, but that's not true.
Right.
So there's a long list, but I'm going to talk about these individuals here, the 8 individuals here. There was Mary Ellen Pleasant. She used her gold rush wealth to further the cause of the abolitionist John Brown. So how Mary Ellen her money was, she worked in a saloon or a cafe. And when the prospectors were coming in during the gold rush and they were talking about finding their gold and then taking their money and then investing it in the stock market, Mary Ellen was listening. So Mary Ellen took her earnings from being a waitress, and she started investing in the stock market. And so she then created a wealth for herself, but she didn't just use it for herself and her family. She actually then used that money to help fund and provide capital for abolitionists. And this is something that if you read about the history of all of these millionaires I'm going to talk about, most of them went back and helped to free other slaves and to create other wealth for other slavery owners, post slaves, or freemen. So in this book right here, The Black Fortunes, excellent book. It actually talks about that with they identify 6 African Americans who were the pioneers to becoming a millionaire. Robert Reed Church, he was one of the largest landowners in Tennessee. Hannah Ellis, she was the mistress of a New York City millionaire who used her land that her lover gave her to build an empire in Harlem. So Harlem was actually black, always was black before even the generation. So she's in that book. And Turnbull Malone, we've always been taught that Madam C.J. Walker was the very first millionaire woman in the beauty industry. She was not. Annie Malone was actually the very first. She was an orphan, and she was a self-taught chemist who developed the first national brand of hair care products, which is where Madam C.J. Walker had lost her hair due to stress, and she had a crazy husband. Yeah. She went to Anne Malone. Anne Malone had the hair care products that helped grow her hair back. She then was working and doing laundry for Anne Malone. But Madam C.J. Walker actually stole it was before patents. So she stole the recipe and created her own brand.
And the thing about that is Anne Malone, she didn't have the marketing skills and expertise that Madame C.J. Walker did. And that's why Madame C.J. Walker was able to go out there. You know, she was the first Mary Kay, right? She went out there and started selling door to door.
Actually, Annie Malone was. So Annie Malone had her team of Mary Kay workers out there, but she had a certain look.
Yeah.
Most of the women were light skinned with good hair. They were they were mulattoes, right?
Good hair. Huh?
Good hair. That was so Annie sent out her. That's who she had representing her company,
Yeah.
and so C.J. Walker was a darker skinned woman, and
Yeah.
so she asked Annie Malone, could she be one of the salesperson, and Annie told her no because she didn't fit the image, but she could be her washerwoman. So
Mm.
Annie, Madam C.J. Walker's went, no, and so she actually went and uh stole the copied, I'll say that she
she,
copied
she
the
pirated it.
she pirated the recipe, created her own in a different team, but
Yeah.
actually Annie Malone came up with the first hair carolers and all that sort of stuff.
Right.
She also had a school. She was
Yeah.
one of the first Black beauty schools, and so how she lost her money was she was married to a philanthroping husband,
Yeah.
and he took all her money. And so
Mm-mm-mm.
she actually died a poor woman. So
Wow.
consequently, history actually says that Madam C.J. Walker was the first female Black billionaire, but it really wasn't. It was Anne
But
Malone that
yeah,
really was.
in
Um,
essence, yeah.
in essence, it was Malone, C.J. Walker. Next is O.W. Gurley. He was a school teacher from Mississippi who
Mm-hmm.
developed a piece of property, a land in Tulsa, Oklahoma, turned it into a town for wealthy Black professionals and craftsmen
Uh-huh.
that had become known as the Black Wall Street. So
So he
O.W.
was one of the pioneers of the
he
Black
is
Wall
a
Street,
pioneer.
huh?
Now here's the
Mm-mm.
interesting thing, because in our world, we always think everybody else's water is
It's
colder than
colder,
our own.
yeah.
So Early was going back and forth into Mississippi, trying to bring the freed slaves to Oklahoma, because
Right.
all they had to do was come in and stake a piece of property and it
Yeah.
became their own, right?
Yeah. Yeah.
And so that was part of the Homestead Act. So if anybody
Mm-hmm.
remembers that from high school, that's what that was. He couldn't talk them into it, Gilbert. No
Wow.
matter what he did, they didn't want to do it.
They're
So he
not
got very
listening to him.
right. So they got very frustrated, but there were a number of them that came, and that really was the origin of Black Wall Street.
Mm-mm-mm.
So then there was one other, this guy, I actually even talk about him in my classes all the time. A.G. Gaston, he actually wrote a
Mm-hmm.
book called there's a book written by him by his niece, I think, called The Black Titan. He was a son of a former slave. He actually sold burial plots and insurance and
Yeah.
became a billionaire. He actually became a billionaire,
Yeah.
and he helped with all of these individuals, though. With their money, they went
Yeah.
back and reinvested in individuals to help free the slaves and to provide better living and jobs for people that look like them. So they actually did support the abolitionists as well. And then this last one, so there were a number of them, but there's probably another 20, 30, 40, 50 very wealthy individuals, individuals that became very wealthy over time. So one was Antoine Dubuc. He owned property. Let me get to him really, really quick. He was born in 1810 in Louisiana to free Black parents. His father was a planter who owned 406 acres of land and 70 slaves. After his father died at the age of 54 in 1828, Antoine inherited. Now, his father, you guys got to know that he was white. His
Yeah.
father was not black.
That's what I was thinking. That's what I was thinking, because he owned slaves and he owned land. Is like,
Yeah, he wasn't black, but Antoine was his biological son, and he inherited his father's estate and went on to marry a wealthy Black woman. They combined their assets, and their combined assets were roughly $95,000, making Dubursset
do
one of the
do
wealthiest planners of his time.
do Bouclet.
Dubuclet of his
Yeah.
time. in the aftermath of the Civil War, the Southern plantation industry suffered greatly, and this probably contributed to Dubolet's pivot into politics. So in 1868, he was elected the state treasurer of Louisiana, where he faced the hardy task of rectifying Louisiana's financial insolvency. Dubolet was lauded by both Democrats and Republicans, and he managed to serve more than one term in the office. So those are our Black billionaires of the yesterday. Some of them. There's a whole bunch more. And I highly recommend everyone go out and learn about these individuals. It's books out there about them. And it's very interesting how they were able to acquire their wealth. Black Fortunes is an amazing book. I learned so much from that book.
You know, they should make a movie out of this. They
I
should
know,
make a movie because, you know, most of us, we prefer watching videos and movies. I think this would be a good way to do it.
I think so as well. So now we fast forward to today.
Yes,
So
today.
I always say this, and you know, you've heard me say this, Gilbert, that our ancestors created wealth from absolutely nothing.
Nothing, right.
They had the clothes or the raggedy taggedy clothes on their back. They didn't speak, they couldn't, they weren't educated. The only thing that they probably could read was the several passages in the Bible that their owners allowed them to read. No shoes. All they had was the ingenuity and the determination that they will never be enslaved again. And so they took that and they developed their wealth. So today, when we look at our people, what the heck is the problem? Because we have so much more. We are educated. We're not, you know, we didn't just get freed.
No.
We have the ability and the capacity to go out and create wealth. So the things to create that, the pathway to wealth is success, growth, wealth management, creating legacy for our children. And the reason we want to do that is because that gives us the power. If we want legislation, you have to have power.
Right.
If you want change, you have to have power. Cannot happen without that.
And see, the pathway to freedom and financial stability, Crystal, there's several segments to it, because the first segment is that you identify what skills and talents you have to launch you into generating that wealth, you know, to doing the work. So that's the first thing, identifying the talent, the skill, because many entrepreneurs, they know their craft. They know their craft very well. They just don't know how to manage the business. They don't know the administrative piece to it. They don't know the paperwork. They don't know how to get connected. Those are the parts that's missing. So now that we know with our entrepreneurs, and most entrepreneurs, is to identify your talent or your skill that can become marketable, then we got that part. The second part is what you and I offered to them, is the administration of your paperwork, the management of your business, and connecting you with financial resources.
Mm-hmm. And you're absolutely right, Gilbert, because if we look at statistics, small business is one of the biggest economic engines in the US of A.
Oh,
right?
yeah. Oh,
right.
yeah.
Nearly half of all workers employed by one of there's like 32 million small businesses nationwide.
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah.
And so being able to create a business and now take control over how your financial wealth, because you are never going to be wealthy working for someone. Ever.
No,
Never.
that just doesn't happen.
It doesn't happen. So but you do open up the possibilities if you have your own business. And if you're, as Gilbert just said, if you're running your business properly and have a legal structure set up, pay your taxes, have invest in marketing, invest in employees. You actually can become a millionaire running your own business, but you got to have a business that has that can be leveraged, that can be scaled,
Yeah.
right?
Yeah.
We can't have businesses running it out of our trunk of our cars.
No.
we
No.
can't we can't have businesses like just a t-shirt distribution center out your
Right.
backyard, right?
Right.
If you're going to do those type of businesses, you got to look at it on a bigger scale, a grander
Right.
scale, right?
And that could be the start of your business, where you started out of the back of your car, the trunk, or on a stand on the side of the street. That might be the start, but you got to put a system and processes in place that will take it next level, so you can scale.
Right, you have to scale. So, um, the U.S. Census indicates that there are 135,000 Black-owned businesses in the USA. These businesses employ about 1.3 million people and have a total annual receipts of about 133 $1 billion annually. So about 1/3 of Black-owned companies operate, and about 1/3 operate in the healthcare and the social services sector, according to the
Mm-hmm.
census. And
Mm-hmm.
so, social sector is not going to help you, not going to make you rich.
No. No. Just not gonna happen. No.
So we need to start concentrating on the technology industry.
Yes.
There's a lot of us in construction, transportation, warehousing, support businesses that hire other people that you now can duplicate yourself. These are the type of businesses that we really should look at. Now, there is one state in the United States that there are more Black-owned businesses than any other state in America. Can you tell me which one that is? Do anybody know? Do you know?
Would it be Atlanta, Georgia?
It would be Georgia. Yeah. And I had heard that in Georgia, written in the codicils of in Georgia, there's a lot of land that's owned by Black
Yeah.
people, right?
Yeah. Yeah.
And also in Georgia, a lot of procurement opportunities. Most of
Yeah.
the very well, yeah, Georgia, someone said most
Yeah.
of the wealthy people, it's land, right?
Yeah.
And so a lot of real estate agents in Georgia.
Yeah.
Oh my God.
Yeah.
Per capita, there must be like
Right.
25 for every mile, there must be 30 real estate agents. But that is something. But Georgia, they bought land and then they leased that land to conglomerates. But in the
Yeah.
codicils, they made sure that the staff had to be Black. I went to a conference for the Power Network conference. I love going to those. And
Yeah.
so the hotel we stayed at, which was the Marriott at that time, was
Yeah.
owned. It's Prince Charles, and it was owned by a Black man. And
Oh, really?
owned by a Black man by
Mhm.
the waterfront, right on the waterfront.
Man,
And he told his
that is unusual.
so he had his niece go. He says, "Go out there and find me somebody to lease my property," and
Yeah.
a hotel chain. So she
Yeah.
went out, and they were able to um the Marriott leased it. So when I went there and stayed, I'm like, wow, I've never been to a hotel where all the staff is Black. What the heck is happening up in here? I mean, no matter where I went on that property, to finally, I was in my room, and the maid had come in to clean the room, and I asked her, I said, okay, I just gotta ask, how the heck is all the employees in this building Black?
Yeah.
And she says, because it's mandated in the codicil of this property. Every time it's sold, no matter what hotel owns it, 75% of the employees have to be African American.
Wow.
And
That's
so,
amazing.
and she says it's the most coveted job in Prince George. That's what most coveted job here. Everybody wants to work here. And then I think they recently, or a couple years ago, before we left, they we I think for 4 years the conference was in Georgia. Um, but before it, no, that was in DC. I'm sorry, that was in DC.
Yeah.
Um, but before we left, they actually sold it to the another hotel. But the same thing, the black people had to be the people had to be black to work there. But Georgia,
75%.
yeah,
Yeah.
75% has to always have the employment status has to be that. So I think that's what you gotta have to do. Now there are obviously some deficits to us finding funding. There is a funding gap for black owned businesses in the United States.
Mhm.
But you kind of have to be creative because again, I have to go back to my ancestors, and my ancestors didn't have funding. Right?
That's true.
My
That's true.
ancestors had raggedy clothes and raggedy shoes. That's what they had. They didn't have they couldn't go into the bank and get a loan, unless of course they were in Oklahoma, where Black Wall
Yeah.
Street we had our own banks,
Where
but
where they were in that black network and they
right
couldn't
in that
access it.
network. But I will say that this to you guys, we can create what we need by supporting each other. So if we're
Yes.
supporting black banks, black businesses, you help us generate enough money that we can support ourselves and we can actually be sustainable. The other thing is we have to figure out how to increase the home ownership for Black America, because it's about assets. It's about
Mhm.
having money that an asset or collateral will help you acquire more money, but you have to look at a different way. So it might mean in this day and age we might have to come together and buy
Yeah.
property together.
Right.
Um, and I know in the Hispanic culture that's what they do. The
In
one
the
with the best
In the Asian culture, they do that same thing too.
yeah. So the one with the best credit score, they're the
Yeah.
ones that buy
They lead the project, right?
they lead the project, and then they help you get then you help encourage your brethren to get their stuff together, so then that they can then support, they can help the next one come up, and then they can buy, and then they can buy, and then we just have to change how we do it. Candace
Yeah.
says she's still standing because of her community support, and that's what
Yeah.
has to happen. We have to support each other's businesses in order for us to achieve the wealth that we need in order to create that power. And
Right.
now we can really be free if we have money behind the freedom. But freedom without money, I'm sorry, it just doesn't work.
See, a lot of folks, man, they think that when they hear freedom, oh, I'm totally free. No, you're still obligated and indebted to someone because, one, if you're not generating your own source of income and revenue, you're indebted to someone. That
You're
means you're an employee, you're a slave to their requirements, their policies, their procedures. They can tell you anything. They can tell you anything.
yes,
And we've seen that back in the day when many of our foreparents say, oh, we're free, now we can do what we want. Then they come back in and say, hey, if you don't want this amount of harassment or this amount of pressure from this and this, come back on our team. And then based on that, they could easily deduce that, hey, I'm not as free as I think I am, because now I'm the law may be emancipation, but over here this person is putting all this undue burden on me that I have to deal with that. And do I have to, or do I want to cancel this person?
right, exactly. Yeah, you have to. But again, things can change if you have legislation. Legislation does not happen if you don't have power. And if
Yeah.
you don't have power behind you. And so if all black people, I don't care whether you are from uh, if you have an ancestor that was from the continent of Africa and you found your way, and they were enslaved here in the Caribbean or here in America, we're all the same people. And so we should gather together. All Black people from around the world is in the same position. I don't care where you live. So you want to be able to come together, and collectively we can make change, as opposed to just one little small group. There's only we only represent 13% of the population of the Americas. But if you took that along with all of the Caribbean Americans that are here in this country, and the Africans that are here in this country that have a vote and have a say, we could make some things change. We could change some things. We're no different. It just means that the ship stopped in the Caribbean before it actually got here. Slavery was the same in Jamaica, the same in the Barbados, the same in Brazil, the same in Haiti, the Dominican is the exact same. We were held hostage. We worked for free.
That's exactly what it is, man. That's exactly what it is. So we got to break away from that mindset. We got to get it refocused, recalibrated, start looking at entities that can generate revenues for us and our family that is scalable.
That's
scalable.
and like our ancestors, some of the things that they did was, when you reach back, you got to go back and help the ones below you. That's why I work with children. That's why I do what I do with the nonprofits that I'm a part of. It's fantastic. I get blessings from my professional life, but it doesn't mean anything to me if I can't help someone else. If I can't bring somebody up, then what is the point of me rising above? Right. So it's so important that we look back at our own, and we just not think it's just about us. It just cannot be about us. And so if you guys go do your history, go read that one book I talked to you about, Black Fortune. There's another one called The Black Elites, the original Black Elites. Read that. Find out what our ancestors did when they were emancipated in either 1863 or 1865, depending on when they got the memo, and find out how they changed their lives from nothing to something. Hey, Greg.
Hey, look who is here. Welcome to the business zone, Greg. We were just talking about Juneteenth and what you had planned to celebrate it tomorrow.
Yeah, what you doing, Greg, for Juneteenth? But yeah, so that's what so as I said, it's fantastic, and I love the fact that it is now a legal holiday. But what we don't want is others to benefit commercially. We just talked about without the money, Greg, we're not free. We don't want others to benefit from the commercial from taking the holiday and creating it,
from commercializing us and monetizing us, and we don't get any residual,
and we get nothing of it. We just get the ability to run around saying that we're free when we're really not free.
Like we say, the word freedom means free. You're dumb to think you're free. You're not free unless you're making some financial headway in your business or in your family life. So
that is true. Greg, you're going to the the Playboy Jazz Festival? Concert on Sunday. I think that's what that is. So there's the Playboy Jazz Festival that takes place on Father's Day. Is that where you're going, Greg? So that pretty much, guys, is our show today. We just want to wish you all a very safe Juneteenth and happy Freedom Day. But remember, freedom comes with freedom can only come with money. So let's work
Yeah.
on that. Uh, please go out and support all of the activities and events that's going on this weekend. Support Black businesses while you're out there.
Crystal, you
And
may want to talk about your platform that Black businesses can register on in order to access resources from other Black businesses or do business with other Black businesses.
oh,
So,
our
Recycling
the
Black Dollars
yeah,
has,
you guys
yes,
can go over to Recycling Black Dollars. I will put the link. Let me see. I got to get to the link. This is my new computer, so I got to find the link. But you can go over to our resource guide and let me see if I can pull that up while we're talking.
just remember, guys, you have to have some type of financial system in place, whether through entrepreneurship, whether through its investment, whatever. You need to do it. And it needs to be legal financial events as well. So,
Yeah.
yeah. Yeah. We don't want to encourage you to go out there and say, "Oh yeah, we're making money." We just can't disclose our source, you know.
And it's so funny. And I won't call any names, but I was just talking to someone earlier today, and they were talking about a company that had gotten had been in business. They had gone on Shark Tank years and years and years ago,
Yeah,
and they were trying to figure out why their business was not successful.
yeah,
And I went, wait a minute, that company's been around for almost 10 years. What are they
yeah,
talking about? They're not making money.
yeah,
And so, I mean, they're selling in big box stores. And so she was telling me, she goes, well, I think because they don't treat it like a real business. At the end of an event, let's say they participated in the any Juneteenth event, right? So
yeah,
at the end of the day, all people that work that day, they take all of the proceeds, they split it down, they divide it amongst all. If there's like 6 or 7 people that work the event, they
yeah.
split the proceeds down the middle. Everybody get their little piece like a band, and then they all go off their way. But the money never gets to the bank.
Oh wow! Oh, wow! That
I
is
said,
something else.
"Oh my God!" Okay, so yeah, got to do it the right way.
So
All right.
Greg said not the Podna system. The Podna system is a system in Jamaica. It's not an official system. It's under the table type system where
Oh,
you'll get a group of 15 people that come together, right? And each one is going to put $300 in the pot every
oh,
month,
okay.
right? And then when all 15 put their 300 in the pot, one person gets the whole pot for that month. So every month somebody gets a pot. But here's a drawback to that. When some people get their pot, after they get the pot, they don't want to contribute to the pot anymore. So that creates problem. And some people, they try to get them arrested, but the whole system is illegal. So he go report it to the police, and like the police gonna say, well, you're involved in illegal stuff too. So
So let me ask this question. That sounds like the gifting system. Yeah, it's been called a lot of things, Greg. In Jamaica, so you guys, uh, do you guys have an Independence Day
oh
for
yeah, yeah.
when is that in Jamaica when the freedom?
Independence, I think was 1963 or 61. I gotta double check. It's been so long, man.
Now is
Yeah,
that from London? Is that from
from
England?
England, from England. We were one of the first Caribbean islands to become independent because because I'm still conjuring up the script for this movie because back in the day we were the ragamuffin group of all the slaves, right? They didn't take us that they couldn't take us that easily, right?
Right.
So the British came to try to subdue us, and we form an alliance with the Maroons. The Maroons are like
Okay.
they're like indigenous people, and then the runaway slave. Greg said Haiti was first, I think. No, Haiti was after us. So So they form an alliance with the Maroons, and the Maroons are a real hard neck, roughneck ragamuffin. So they would fight you. They would fight you with stick, arrows, whatever they can. The British came with their guns, and they didn't know the landscape. So the Maroons and all the ex-slaves, they knew the land. They knew where to hide and all of that. So they ambushed the British and beat the crap out of them.
Oh, okay.
And after that, that's when they decided, okay, they're gonna give us our independence, because they didn't want another ass whooping. So
Okay. Now, how did you get the independence from
from Britain?
from slavery?
Oh,
Because that was
oh, oh,
independence from Britain, but the
that
actual
was 1865, just like here in the U.S.
Oh, okay.
Right. So it was emancipated then, but just like with the slave owners, they were saying, well, you're emancipated, but no one is going to give you a job. No one is going to give you an opportunity. So you can do some work for us and we'll give you some money. But the money that they were giving was less than minimum wage. So it's like people were working still for free, So
Okay.
that was going on in Jamaica as well. So, groups start getting together, and that's when the British was coming in to try to take control of stuff.
Oh, okay.
In the 60s, right? And
Mhm.
then that's when we kicked their butts and kicked them out of the country and say, hey, don't come back, we don't want you here. If you guys come back, we're gonna it said beaten by the sticks. Oh yeah, we had sticks and all kinds of stuff, and we kicked their butts. So
But
that's how. Go ahead.
that's how you guys became independent?
That's how we got our independence. So
Okay.
we no longer because we were using the British money. We're using their
Oh,
currency, and we said,
right.
we want our own. We want our
Okay.
we want our own. So we created our own money, putting national heroes like Nanny and Paul Bogle and Marcus Garvey and people like those on our money, because those people are freedom fighters for us, So
Yeah.
so the movie I'm telling you about is, you hear of Harriet Tubman and you hear of,
Yeah, you got that should be done.
yeah. Yeah, so Nanny was a militant slave, ex-slave. That she didn't take any mess.
Oh, yeah, that should definitely be a story.
So I'm writing a script for that, man.
Oh, okay.
That we want to convert into a movie, because I'm telling you, she wasn't a play. You hear about ragamuffin women, you hear about gangster women. Okay. She was like the cream of the cream.
Did you hear this week that that the president of Rwanda deported out 18 Chinese nationals?
Yeah, I saw that.
And he said that Africa is for Africans. We won't be slaves in Africa. And they were saying they don't tolerate the nonsense of discrimination. So they were sentenced to 20. One nationalist was sentenced to 20 years in jail for torturing local mine workers in Rwanda after a video showing him whipping a man tied to a post. So they actually kicked out 18. They deported them. So I guess Africans
that's like poetic justice right there.
That is, isn't it?
Because you remember when this whole hullabaloo started with the pandemic, with COVID and all of that. China starts spreading all these false rumors saying, hey, it came from these blacks, can't let them in the store, can't let them in our malls, and start talking smack, right? So it's the same thing now. Rwanda is treating them the same way they treated us, in China. So
so they
poetic
are
justice, man.
And I heard another, and I was looking at some of when I saw a video on it, and some other nationalists, some other African companies in our country, South Africa, said our president should do the same thing. In fact, all African presidents should start kicking people out that is trying to enslave their people. Because Africa is the most wealthiest continent on the planet, but have the poorest people on the planet. Why the heck is that? That's because these other people have come in and raped that country of all, including us, of all of their resources, and benefited from it, and then don't do anything for the country in return.
That's like an oxymoron right there. The richest nation, but yet the poorest set of people. They
The
have the
poorest set of
poorest people.
people.
You see what I'm saying?
Exactly.
Unbelievable. So Greg is saying, Malikia and spit blood, man. and and Candace is saying, yeah, we need a movie like that named Annie. Yeah, I mean Nanny.
Nanny, right? So yeah,
Nanny.
you need
Yeah.
to finish your script, Gilbert.
Oh, I need to finish my script, man, because I'm telling you, this is really roughneck type stuff, and she's really militant, man. She would kick all even the men, the male, the black male, she would kick their asses too.
But here's the thing. Let's think if so we're telling our story here in America.
Yeah.
What if all of the Caribbean islands start telling their story, and
Oh,
then we start seeing
man.
the similarities
Oh,
to our
man.
stories, right? Now there's no difference from us.
Yeah.
There's nothing that separates us, because our spirit, our tenacity comes from our ancestor, who is from the continent of Africa.
You remember one of our shows, a couple of our shows we did back in the day when we were talking about Black history. We talked about Marcus Garvey, because Marcus Garvey was one of the biggest proponent for entrepreneurship for Black people, because he didn't believe in working for anyone. He never worked for anyone. And he was one of the first millionaires, but they didn't recognize him. He owned a shipping company, a distribution company, a printing company, right? A newspaper company, because he believes that if you control those things, then you control the wealth. You don't have to speak with the others about, giving you any opportunities, because you have that connection, that connecting network. And that's what he did. But again, you know how we are with our own people, right? Somebody betrayed him for a plate of food, Crystal. A plate of food. Wow. A plate of rice and beans.
But that wouldn't happen if we empowered and enriched everyone, right? You couldn't be bought,
right?
If you had your own.
Yeah.
So the whole thing behind it is get our own, and then we don't and take care of our own.
Yeah.
And we can't be bought by someone else. There can't be a weak link. There will not be a weak link in the chain if we're all taken care of.
But then again, it's kind of strange, Crystal, because you will never have absolute support and teaming from any group. Because even back in the day with Jesus, man, you remember Judas? Judas sold him out for 30 pieces of silver, man. And at the end of the day, they killed him.
That's true.
Because he was a snitch.
That is true.
You're right. So you're gonna have that in any group. You're gonna have snitches, who are willing to take a payout to snitch on the leader. They did the same thing with a Black Panther. You had people who snitched on them.
Yeah, that is what happened. That's how they took down Martin Luther King.
Yeah.
A sellout
snitch.
Right there.
They snitch, or they try to set him up with a woman or something, man.
There must have been a village in Africa that trait was prominent in that village.
Oh yeah, because that's how slavery got started. Because those dudes, they got together and they rounded up our foreparents and say, "Hey, we're gonna sell you to the others," and they sell us to the others, and then the others would come in like every 2 weeks with their money, their 30 pieces of silver, and say, "Hey, round me up 100 of your strongest, people."
Right,
so we can go enslave them in the Caribbean, in the Americas, and that's what happened.
So some folks are from the
snitching tribe, the snitching tribe, man. That's it. That's why snitches get stitches.
It must have been a tribe. They even rounded up. Obviously, they rounded up some of their own people.
Yes,
they did. Became that people.
Yeah, wow. They want them to do stuff for them and say, "Oh, you're not gonna do it for me? Okay, I'm gonna snitch on you."
Right, exactly. All right, guys, it's been a great show. And so we just want you to go out and have a great Juneteenth Freedom Weekend and celebrate. But remember that we have to, with the freedom, we have to have money, which then creates the power. So
We
you have to
gotta have, when we talk about
resources.
a machine that makes money, we're talking about having an automated system that generates financial and revenue streams for us. Okay,
Right,
that's what we're
exactly.
looking for.
Yep.
We need a machine that makes money. They use us as a machine that made money for them back in the day. They
Yes.
didn't pay taxes on us. They just slave us and put us to work, free labor. We're
Right.
not about that anymore.
Right. So we have to create our wealth so we can take care of our children and our families and we can have power. We have a voice. But do know that you have a voice we can use our voice like a printing press. Yes,
Yeah,
Greg, just like a printing press.
that's like
We
a
do have
printing
a
press.
voice in the voting system, and we have to be loud and vocal about it.
Yeah,
And again, if we come together as a people, we have more power and we can protect each other. So
that's right.
just that's pretty much our show for today. We
Yeah,
just felt it was necessary to celebrate Juneteenth along with
yeah,
everyone else and give you our rendition, our factual rendition.
yeah, yeah. And also bring some awareness to what this is all about, why we're celebrating this thing.
Exactly. So celebrating Juneteenth, but freedom is not free if there is no money involved. You are not free until you have power and
Yeah.
resources. That's when
And
you are free.
if there's no power and resources, then freedom is just free and dumb. So let's keep that in mind, guys.
Free and dumb.
Free and dumb.
All right, guys. It's been a great week. It's been a great show. Candace, thanks for tuning in and being with
Thanks,
us most of the
Candace.
day.
Thanks,
And
Greg. Thanks,
Greg,
everyone who has been listening. This is amazing. We're on every Friday from 3 to 4:30 if the show is great. And we want to let you know we're also on YouTube, Facebook Live. Go to YouTube, hit that subscribe button. Make sure you subscribe so we can send you information. We can notify you when there's a great resources coming on, which we do every week. And we've got great guests. You too can also be a guest on the Business Zone. And Crystal, all they have to do is contact you, correct?
yep, they can contact me. I'll put our email address here. Contact us at the Business Zone with Crystal and Gilbert, and let us know that you want to be a guest on the show. We are always looking for great guests because the other thing Gilbert and I are both very committed to is supporting our small business community and helping you get um, uh, helping you expand your brand out to our marketplace because again if we support one another we can increase our resources together. So yes,
That's right.
or go to our Facebook page, our Instagram, our LinkedIn, whatever social media platform you're on, we're on there as well. And so let us know. We're always looking for guests. So reach out to us. Greg, have a great weekend. Be safe at the concert. Wear your mask, dude.
Wear your mask. All of you, wear your mask, please, please.
Right. So make sure you wear your mask. And we are out, Gilbert.
Yep, we're out of here. See ya.
Okay, see you guys.
As a small biz pro, I saw we roll, using procurement, program and control. As a small biz pro, I saw we grow, using procurement, program and control. I'm a businessman, yes, I'm an entrepreneur.